Hey everyone! Welcome back to another episode in the Learning Python series. In this episode, we will learn about if statements and while loops, which are both two important concepts in not just Python, but in many programming languages. Let's get started. First, let's learn about if statements. Here is the diagram of an if statement. So in the beginning, it goes to the if statement, so it's the start. And then it goes to the condition. If that condition is true, the code written in the next line of the condition will be run. After that code is run, the if statement will come to the end. But if that condition is false, the if statement won't do anything, no code will be run, and the code will come to an end. Let's look at an if statement example in Python code. So first, for the condition, let's try out an operator to make it a little easier. So here we have our keyword, if. And then here's our operator condition, 56 is equal to 56. Then we need our colon. After our colon, when we press enter, it'll automatically indent. And there you can type in your code. So here I just put a simple print statement that says this statement is true. So for this if statement, since 56 is equal to 56, the code inside the if statement will be run. So in the console, this statement is true will be printed. Now let's look at another example. So here we have if y is not equal to 5, print is this true or false. Since this condition is false, nothing will be run in the console because y is actually equal to 5. Let's try out a little more advanced if statement in our repo.it project. So for this one, let's create two variables and compare both those variables in the if statement. So first, let's create one variable called var, and let's make that equal to 5, and another variable called var2 and make that equal to 10. So next, let's use an if statement. So if, and let's do if var is greater than var2, colon, indent, print var is greater. So pause this video and think about what will be printed when you run this code. When you're ready, unpause this video. So now let's look at what's going to be printed. So actually nothing's going to be printed because var is actually equal to 5 and var2 is 10. 5 is actually less than 10, not greater. So nothing is going to be printed. If we did it the opposite way and did if var is less than var2, then it's going to print out var is greater. Let's learn a little more about if statements. You can actually do other things with if statements. What if you wanted to run some other code when a condition was false? You would have to use elif and else statements for that. Here's a diagram explaining if-else statements. So here's the start of the if statement. Then it goes down to the condition. If that condition was true, then it would go to the if code like we learned before. But if that condition was false, it would go to the else code. Then it would go to the code after the if statement, and then it would go to the end of the program. Here's an example of an if-elif-else statement in Python code. So here we have a variable called var, and I made that equal to 5. So here's an if statement. So first I said if var is equal to 6, print var is equal to 6. But we know that var is actually equal to 5, not 6. So this condition is not going to work. Then it's going to go to the elif statement. So elif is kind of like a mini else, but it actually goes to the elif before it comes to the else. So elif actually stands for else if. Here we have elif var is equal to 7, print var is equal to 7. But that's not true either because var is equal to 5. Then it goes to the third elif statement. It just keeps moving on through the code until one condition is true. If that condition is true, then the whole if statement comes to an end. So the last elif statement we have here is elif var is equal to 8, print var is equal to 8. But that's not true either. So then it comes to the else because all three are false, so it'll come to the else and print coming to the else statement, and that's what it's going to print in the console. So this is basically how an if-elif-else statement works. The format of an if-elif-else statement is just a little confusing, so I'm going to be going through it in the REPL.it project. So let's do an example similar to the previous example. So let's do var is equal to 20. So first we need to create an if statement. So if var is equal to, let's say, 30, then print var is 30. And in this example, let's make one of the elif statements true. So let's do elif var is equal to 20. Print var is 20. And then let's do elif var is equal to 10. Print var is 10. Then now let's do an else. So else print var is another number. So in this example, it's first going to go to the if. So here, if the if statement is actually false because var is actually equal to 20. So then it moves on to the elif statement. Then it checks if this condition is true, and it is true. So when we run this program, it's going to print out var is 20. So since the elif statement is already true, it's just going to come to the end of the if statement because one condition is already true. If more than one condition are true, then the first condition that is true is going to be run in the console. So here if we did var is not equal to 10, that's actually true because var is actually 20, not 10. Then this code will actually still be run because this condition was before this condition. So when we run this code, it still prints out var is 20. If you have any questions regarding if statements or if-elif-else statements, feel free to comment it down in the comments section. But now let's move on to while loops. While loops are used to repeat code until a condition is false. While loops are kind of like a forever block on Scratch, if you know what forever blocks on Scratch are, but it's different because it stops repeating code when the condition given is satisfied. Here's a diagram of while loops. So first it starts at the top of the while loop, at the beginning of the while loop. Then it goes down to the condition. So then it checks whether this condition is true or false. If the given condition is true, then it goes down to the loop body, or where all the code inside the while loop is. Then that code runs, and then it comes out of the loop body and goes back to the condition. It keeps on checking if the condition is true or false, and while this condition is true, it just keeps running this code inside the loop body over and over again. Finally, when this condition is false, it comes out of the while loop and it ends the while loop. Here's an example of a while loop in Python. So to create a while loop, you first start off with the word while, and then you type in your condition. I'll be explaining this while loop and how it works later. Then you need your colon. After the colon, press enter and it automatically indents for you. Once you press enter, you can type your code, whatever code you want, here, and this is the loop body. So now I'll explain this while loop. First, I created a variable called count and I made that equal to 1. Then I created a while loop, and the condition inside that while loop is count is less than 5. So while count is less than 5, print high. And then I said count is equal to count plus 1, and what this does is it keeps increasing count by 1 every time the while loop repeats. So what this does is until count is equal to 5, it's going to keep printing high and increasing count by 1. So once count is equal to 5, the while loop will stop running because 5 is actually equal to 5, not less than 5. So then the while loop will come to an end. So when we run this code, it's going to print out hi 5 times, and that's what it shows in the output. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that like button and leave a comment regarding this episode so that I'll know how to make future episodes. Also, make sure to subscribe to this channel so that you'll know when future courses are released. See you in the next video!